So this is day 46. And interestingly enough, that I have to read this article first because, or part of it, you can see up here in the right-hand corner of the screen, it says YouTube creators espousing opinions in their basement can't provide context on the news. Now you heard that correctly. This is the CPO of YouTube. Okay? He's basically saying if you have an opinion on the news and you put it on YouTube, yeah, you can't provide context because you're part of the little people. Now, here's Glenn Beck's reaction this morning on his radio program. Just listen to the snippet of here, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
The chief product officer of YouTube, the platform that was created to let anyone with a camera in their home have a voice. The thing that really changed and transformed and empowered people for the first time. Well, they didn't mean to empower, people.
That's the correct sentiment here. At first it was broadcast yourself. Now it's like, well, we take authoritative, quote unquote, news organizations or health organizations, and they're the authoritative content that we want. And you, people that have an opinion, screw you, according to this chucklehead. What is his name? Neel Mohan? Yeah, he thinks you're a piece of garbage. He's not going to say it out loud. But you're part of the little people. You don't mean anything. Oh yeah, you helped YouTube get to this point. But guess what? We don't want you anymore. We only want authoritative sources and only people that we think you should listen to. But those little people out there, no, not you.
Just the right people. They now said that YouTubers who share their opinion on the news cannot provide context. And this is why they need to be suppressed and censored when it comes to newsworthy topics.
You heard it. So if you have an opinion that YouTube doesn't like or it goes against an authoritative source, your opinion is garbage. It means nothing. That's what they're saying.
Are you kidding me? Mohan, who is much smarter than you are and can provide context for everything, made the comments during an interview with Protocol's editor-at-large David Pierce when he was asked whether health authorities changing their advice about the coronavirus, such as the way they change their recommendations around masks, is causing YouTube to maybe be slightly behind when it comes to moderating content.
Ah, yes. Don't take my word for it. Let's go to the exact time when he was asking about that. It says, when did the here we go.
And so we've used that framework to take down videos that might be misleading people on our platform. But again, going back to something that you said earlier, information is changing really, really rapidly. And bad information is popping up really rapidly as well. There's been conspiracy theories. There's been that are, commercially motivated.
Commercially motivated? What is he talking about? What if someone doesn't just agree? Oh, your opinion doesn't count. That's what he's saying.
Politically motivated, what have you.
Politically motivated? When Nancy Pelosi, de Blasio, all that were saying, don't worry about this coronavirus. Go out and hang out in Chinatown. When all this is going on, they're authoritative sources, but not now. Well, actually, they are still. But back then, they just didn't have all the information available.
We want to make sure that that's not getting in the way of the core messages of these health authorities. So that's
really like when the WHO was saying that masks, you don't need masks, or China said, don't worry about the coronavirus. That's not transferable to human. No. But now they changed their tune. So which is it there, Mr. Mohan?
That's kind of the way that we've been thinking about it. And to give you some examples, we used that existing policy and updated our enforcement of that policy to also include things like commentary that might encourage people to flout stay-at-home orders or
Commentary? You mean imagine and it sounds like an American. Imagine Americans saying, "Oh, though that pesky First Amendment, nah, don't worry about that. Freedom to assemble, nah. We throw it out the window because there's a virus." That's what he's saying. He's saying, "Oh, it goes against what our community guidelines say." So basically, anything that this guy says or decides that it's contrary to our community guidelines, thrown out the window. First Amendment, freedom of speech, screw you. You don't need that on our platform. We're a private place where we can make our own rules. But First Amendment, screw you.
stay-at-home advice that they might be getting from their national health authority. Because in
the National Health Authority is never wrong. Right, Mr. Mohan?
my mind, that's like a kind of a false narrative
False narrative for what? You? Your opinion?
underneath our medical misinformation policy. And
Where is that medical misinformation policy? I didn't see it posted. And if it is posted, you keep it hidden pretty well so that you can just toss up these arbitrary rules and ban two medical doctors who said that we should reopen the country. Yeah, I remember those guys.
we've been striking those videos. And by the way, we strike videos based on the nature of the content of those videos.
Bullcrap. Your content is being curated by leftist, socialist, communist douchebags and computer algorithms who flag videos and take them down without any sort of recourse. You know it and I know it, Mr. Mohan.
It has nothing to do with who the speaker might be of
Bullshit.
those videos or who created that channel in the
Again, bullshit.
first place. If the content is violative, we will remove it from our platform. And that happens to be an example of something that we've done. And every week, we're probably making sort of 2-3 enforcement guideline updates to that sort of overall.
Yeah, they make these enforcement guideline updates, but they don't tell you about it. It's all a mystery until you attract too much attention to yourself, and perhaps you're wrong, perhaps you're right. And then they take you down and say community guidelines. It's like, well, then what was it? Oh, these ones. And we just put us them 2 days ago. You didn't get it? No. That's how they work. Google and its parent company, Alphabet and YouTube, are faceless organizations that give two shits about you. They care about the almighty dollar, and they care about pushing the leftist ideology onto its user base. Believe me.
Foundational policy that we have because this is such a fast-moving crisis.
Okay. Has the pace changed at all? Are you finding you're taking more action on more videos because of all of this?
I think the pace has definitely changed because the nature of the type of misinformation or like.
Really? Your misinformation is someone's opinion. So if someone says stupidly, for instance, to say, go out and lick, I don't know, stripper poles and bus seats. Yeah, that's stupid. But it's incumbent on the reader or listener to go, you know what? That's dumb. I'm not going to do it. But this guy here saying, oh, no. All opinions that we don't like, off the platform.
Like the threads of sort of conspiracies and misinformation are changing all the time.
I like it when people say, well, that's just a conspiracy theory. What about it's a conspiracy query? Or it's like, well, I know what you're saying, WHO, about it not being transferable to humans because you listen to China, but maybe it is. How about we investigate that? Oh, no. YouTube would, back then, if under these same rules, would ban you off the platform.
A, because some of the underlying facts are changing, but B, also because the nature of the misinformation is changing, where we have to give all of our evaluators new guidance to.
And there you go, giving their evaluators new guidance. But what new guidance is that? Leftist ideology. This guy, I guarantee it, this clown right here is a leftist ideologue who hates you if you don't believe what he believes. That's why he's taking down content that's contrary to community guidelines.
Well, Mohan said the changing guidance on masks reflects the actual underlying information that is changing in a fundamental way, really, really rapidly.
Exactly. You see, as information changes, it did make sense when they said, oh, Dr. Fauci and the WHO were basically saying, oh, you don't need masks. It's like, wait, then if this is a disease that's communicable or not communicable, but why not wear it? It makes sense to wear it out of just basic precaution.
So he went on to say, as opposed to, somebody espousing their opinions about a mask, in their basement, this is coming from an authoritative channel, a news source, a medical professional. And that's the case when we think there's going to be some context that's provided around the question of masks. Even if that guidance changes, it will be reflected in sort of how an authoritative voice or channel talks about it.
Now listen to what Mr. Mohan is saying about conspiracy theories or someone's opinion.
Information is changing where we have to give all of our evaluators new guidance to enact underneath those policies. So, 4 weeks ago, would we have been talking about things like coronavirus and 5G conspiracies? No. Well, that happened. And so we need to update our enforcement guidelines around that and make sure that we remove those videos from our platform, because in my mind, if somebody believes that this disease is spread through 5G, that means that they're not going to go and actually seek the medical care that they need.
Oh, really, Mr. Mohan? You mean that if someone believes that if they get sick or they got a knife in their chest, they're not going to seek medical attention because they saw some guy on YouTube state that? Are you a frickin' moron? Oh, yes, you are, Mr. Mohan.
Or recognize it actually is a virus and they need to wash their hands.
Oh, so since I don't recognize it's a virus, and if I don't wash my hands because I watched some YouTube video, that means you didn't do your due diligence and tell us how we should behave or how we should think? Are you that? Yeah, you are.
So that's a policy violation. We're going to strike that type of content.
We're going to strike policy violations that we arbitrarily make up on the fly and that we punish you, the creator, on. Yeah. Sounds pretty fair to me, Mr. Mohan.
And that's happening rapidly. We have one of the other tools that we established that's come in handy here is what we call an intelligence desk.
Intelligence desk doesn't seem too intelligent for me, or even to me.
This is a team of professionals who actually try to look kind of just over the horizon.
Really? You mean leftist ideologues that you handpick to basically determine what is okay and what's not okay? Sounds fair to me.
If you will, in terms of where a conspiracy might be coming from, where misinformation might be coming from.
Misinformation, according to you and your opinion, you're a douche. You are a douche.
So that we can do our best to sort of stay ahead of something that might be emerging before it becomes a challenge on our.
God forbid something become a challenge and someone has a different opinion or even political opinion. Yeah. God, you're just a god-awful person.
Okay. So, and actually, what you bring up one of the things that David Polgar also just brought up in our Q&A, which, by the way, I forgot to mention at the top. If you have questions, there's a Q&A function in Zoom, and you can ask questions.
Yeah, they won't get to it.
I can't promise I'll get to all of them, but we'll try. And David's question was about masks, and this sort of goes to the same thing, where like a month ago, telling everyone that they should wear a mask.
There you go. Watch this. This is where we come into this, because this is where what Glenn was just talking about, was quoting Mr. Mohan about. Let's listen in.
Was not necessarily commonplace advice, and now it is, and I think YouTube has sort of done work to keep up, but we've seen.
They've done work, albeit crappy work, by listening to authoritative sources who don't know their ass from a hole in the ground.
Other platforms have issues with banning mask content even in the middle of sort of changing medical advice. So it's, I guess the broad question here is whether it's masks or 5G coronavirus conspiracy theories, like is YouTube always going to be just sort of by necessity sort of slightly behind the latest, trying to sort of whack-a-mole with whatever people are talking about, or can you
Exactly, they are. They're going to exactly be whack-a-mole. They're exactly going to tell you what you should think and what political speech is proper, what pronouns you're supposed to use, what gender you can say or can't say. That's exactly what they're going to say. Watch.
be more sort of proactive about what's going on?
So I think this is where kind of a lot of the concepts that we talked about sort of come together and sort of create what you see on YouTube. So the first point I would make there is this is the power of an open platform. It
Open? Ha! That's funny.
allows for content that is fresh, timely, relevant to get up on our platform and in front of our users.
Only if you're authoritative content or news. But anybody has an opinion that's not authoritative,
as quickly as possible. So that's kind of a foundational piece. But this is also where kind of raising up authoritative voices and making sure that we remove the misinformation.
remove your peon voice and uplift authoritative content to the rest of the masses.
Come hand in hand. So let's take your mask example. You're right, guidance on masks has changed. And this is what I mean by like the actual underlying information is changing in a fundamental way really rapidly too. But this is the reason why I feel really strongly that when users are looking for this information, making sure that we're raising up authoritative voices is important, because the way that the question around masks would be covered by a credible sort of authoritative voice.
Oh, you mean the credible authoritative voice that said, don't worry about masks? Yeah, you dropped the ball on that there, douche.
Channel is that there would be context. There would be explanations behind why a particular
they gave explanations, Mr. Mohan.
mask decision was made or not. And so the user, the viewer of that content on our platform can make an informed decision for him or herself.
Why you raising authoritative voices and suppressing the people that don't know. They don't have the nuance or the context, like you, Mr. Mohan, who passed through a special membrane that most of us peons don't. Is that right?
And so, so as opposed to, it's somebody espousing their opinions about a mask, in their basement.
Espousing opinions about masks from their basement. How daft of you to say. So you're saying that people who, what about not in basements? I'm not in a basement. I live on the top of a building. I have an apartment building. So is my opinion okay now? Because I'm not in a basement. How you're saying us basement dwellers don't have the context or the nuance to understand such authoritative voices. You're fucking...
This is coming from an authoritative channel, a news source, a medical professional.
A news source that's biased and politically biased against anybody who doesn't think like them.
And if that's the case, we think there's going to be some context that's provided around the question of masks. And even if that guidance changes, it will be reflected in sort of how an authoritative voice or channel talks about it.
Reflective? I mean, are they going to come back and say we were wrong? Oh, that's right, they don't. They don't. And even if they do have a issue in their editorial board will just plaster that thing at the back page or at the bottom of the article, which no one ever really reads, all the way at the bottom, say, oh, editor's correction. We messed up, blah, blah, blah. But they don't really do that. They should put it at the top, but they don't.
A news organization might say, hey, today the guidance on masks has been updated. Here are the reasons why. Here's what it used to be and why it changed.
Which they rarely do. So that's why we should uplift authoritative forces, because they never get it wrong. And when they do, whatever.
And so that's where falling back to really raising up authoritative channels, videos from authoritative channels is important. And at the same time,
it's important because it's the bottom line. That means they get more money from the authoritative forces. Forces is the correct term. Sources. But us lower peons who have got under 125 followers, screw you. That's what you're trying to say, Mr. Mohan, to the rest of us, aren't you?
Removing or reducing views of the videos where that same level of authority hasn't been established. And I think those things coming together.
Really? Established by who? NewsGuard? They're biased as hell. By you? Are you establishing? Are you saying CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox are authoritative forces because forces? I'm going to say authoritative forces. Are you saying that they're authoritative forces because they're authoritative forces? Or is it that they adhere to your political biases, whatever? I think we know what the answer to that question is.
Together, have made it so that we can keep pace with the rapid changes that are happening, but also make sure that they're being done in a responsible manner from authoritative voices.
Really responsible? So if they mess up, are you going to ban them or censure them? No, you're not going to, because they're authoritative forces. Get that out. Let's see what Glenn has to say.
Well, then explain why you took the 2 ER doctors off and banned them.
There you go. You see, Facebook, possibly Twitter, and YouTube got together and said, hey, these 2 ER doctors, they're going against the narrative. We can't have that. So, banned. Anybody has a dissenting opinion? Banned. I may get banned. Banned. We don't like what you're saying? Banned. You have a conspiracy query that might turn into a theory? Banned. That's how they're doing. There is no freedom. I know what you're going to say. Well, it's a private platform. They can do what they want. Yeah, they shouldn't do that, but they're going to do it anyways.
Because they weren't authoritative? They're in the ER.
Exactly. They were in the ER, and they had an opinion. Oh, we can't have that.
They have treated 5,000 patients and administered 5,000 tests. Mo, have you done that?
No, Mr. Mohan, or Mr. Beck, he has not. Mohan has not done that.
Has anyone in Google done that?
Nope.
Has anyone in CNN done that?
No, they have not. And that's the ultimate underlying issue here, is that they have an opinion and it's leftist. And they're saying, well, we only do authoritative content or a source forces. And there you go. That is the issue in line this whole thing, is that YouTube, for one, doesn't give a crap about you smaller peons. Two, they change their voices or their authoritative guidelines on a whim. It changes, but they don't ever tell you about that. Just change. And then you may break them and they don't tell you about it. That's how it goes. And that's how we are. This is day 46, and I'll see you tomorrow.